Hey guys, Buncher here. Look, I know that I've already reviewed this movie, and our review was posted today. Well, I wanted to make this video for a couple of reasons. And one of those big reasons for this video's existence is that I wasn't really fond of my review in this movie. Now, don't get me wrong, my opinions have not changed. But when looking back on the review, I noticed I just wasn't really a fan on how it all turned out. And that was for a couple of reasons. One of them was the timing of the video. Now, I filmed this review after I saw the film, and I wanted to get the review out of the way. However, I started doing the review at, 10 in the night time. And in hindsight, that was not a good idea. Mostly because, I don't know, it was just a bad time for me to do the review. And also the fact that I left out a lot of things that I wanted to say in that review is because my parents were like moving around. I didn't want them to unexpectedly just enter the room while I'm filming, and it led to the review being a bit rushed. So I decided to make another review in this movie, but this time explain the things that I wanted to say that I never got to say in the last review. Now, consider this more of a part 2 to my review, or a remake of my original review. Okay, with that said, let's just get on to the actual review. Inside Out 2. A lot of you guys have already known my thoughts on the first Inside Out film. If not, I really loved the first film. I still think it's the best Pixar film I've seen, and my favorite film of all time. Now, when I heard that they were making a sequel to this movie, I was a bit skeptical. I mean, it's nice that we're seeing these characters again. However, sequels to movies, especially popular films, aren't really the best. And so, yesterday I saw the movie. I went to see the movie with my dad and my cousin. And I have to say, I really like this movie. I really enjoyed it. However, it has its flaws. And I'll talk about it. Has some of its flaws. It has some flaws. I like the movie, but it has some noticeable flaws. But first, before we get on to that, let's get to the plot of the film. Let's discuss the plot. So, Riley is now 13 years old. She's now officially a teenager, and she is on her way to hockey camp. However, she ends up meeting these new girls and wants to fit in with them. So she tries a lot of things to fit in with the other girls, which start affecting the relationship she had with her other friends that she met back in school. Meanwhile, with the emotions, we have 4 new emotions: anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and ennui. And anxiety's plan was to make Riley fit in with the other girls. So when joy, anger, fear, sadness, and disgust end up getting removed from headquarters, they must find a way to get back to headquarters to fix Riley. So let's talk about the characters first. like my original review on this movie, I'm gonna go by each each moment of the review, which includes characters, story, and you know. But I'm gonna say everything I need to say here that I have not said in my original review, because I feel like I left out a lot of things. Now let's start with the characters, and like I said, there are 4 new emotions. But we'll get to that. Let's start off with the emotions from the first film, and that is joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust. They were really enjoyable in the first movie, and they are still really enjoyable. And to be completely honest, it was just nice seeing these characters in the big screen again. Like, it was just nice seeing these characters on the big screen again. I'm not gonna lie there. I just love seeing them back on the screen again. And they are really enjoyable in this movie. However, despite me liking these characters in this movie, and it's just so refreshing to see them back on the big screen again, some of them have some flaws. Let's start off with joy. Now, joy is the happy emotion. Try to keep things positive and try to keep Riley happy most of the time. Is it just me, or does joy seem a bit dim-witted here? Does dim-witted and a bit too energetic at times? Because when anxiety tells her, "Oh, Riley needs me, not you," or it's like Riley, it's like after anxiety says that Riley needs her and not her. I'm assuming that's what she said in the movie. I mean, again, I saw this movie yesterday, so I don't really recall a lot. But she then screws up, and I thought that was a bit odd. And she acts a bit too energetic at times, but she's still the same happy emotion. With fear, disgust, and anger, with anger being the rage emotion, fear being the protective and scared emotion, and disgust being the emotion that hates things, that hates gross things. They kind of bicker a lot in this movie. Now they do bicker in the first film. However, those moments were actually really funny. In fact, it even led to some memorable lines. Here, though, they mostly just bicker about anxiety and again, that happens in the first half of the movie, but it's still pretty noticeable. Again, it makes sense. It does make a bit sense for them to be annoyed, because anxiety's plan is just not working out very well, and it's just messing Riley up even more. I feel like the only character that stayed the same here was sadness, the sad emotion. In fact, she was actually developed well here in this movie. You know, in the first film that she was the more depressed emotion. Well, she's a bit more heroic, a bit more developed here, and actually goes as far as trying to help the other emotions get back in and help fix Riley. And I feel like sadness is well developed here, as the scenes with her are really enjoyable. And she's still the cute emotion that was seen in the first film. So yeah, the old characters are still enjoyable, and again, it was still refreshing to see joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust on the big screen again. They were really enjoyable here. As for the new characters, I like them. Let's start with anxiety. Now, anxiety's plans throughout the entire movie do make sense. I mean, she wants Riley to fit in with the other girls, and she wants her to be happy. Even though her plans obviously aren't working, at least she had good intentions. And she is an interesting character. It's actually kind of interesting. It's actually kind of interesting at what she does throughout the film. Envy, I'm sorry, Envy's design is really cute. Uh, she wants Riley to be with friends with this new girl, and I just like how annoyed she gets. Embarrassment's more of the shy character. He doesn't really talk a lot in the movie, and when he does talk, it's mostly muffled. Yes, he does talk in the movie, but that's towards the end. Spoiler alert. But I like how he, at times, He helps out Sadness, trying to get the other emotions back here and to stop anxiety. That's some nice moves from this character, who's usually just his only character trait is him being just embarrassed and shy all the time. And Emu is more of the bored emotion. And there were some moments with him that were pretty funny, like how he just all of a sudden just misplaced his phone, and all of a sudden just sadness just took his phone. Well, aside from that, not really much I can say about Emu. He's kind of the boredom emoji that's usually described. I mean, he's still a good character, but they're really compared to the other new emotions, he really doesn't really do much. Now, I like the chemistry between Riley and her friends, especially with her trying to fit in with the new characters, and I like how new girls, and I like how she got her set of friends. It was in school during, I don't know, it was like some kind of school show and telling. I don't know, but that leads me to the story. The story feels relatable. Feels relatable because we all had those times where we want to fit in with other people, but but we are just unable to. It actually makes sense. It's such a relatable plot, and you know what? I feel like Inside Out 2 told a more important story than the original film, and it was well handled here, because it's such a relatable plot, and it does make sense that. And besides, we all went there. We all had those moments where we felt nervous meeting other people and trying to fit in. However, despite how relatable the plot is and it is done very well, there are some flaws. For an example, there's some plot rehashing, because in the first film, Joy Sadness get sucked out of headquarters, and that also happened here. But instead of Joy Sadness being sucked out, well, not sucked out, being removed, it's all 5 old emotions getting removed, and they had to get back up. I will admit they did something different with that concept, but it's still the same concept we've known from the first film. Now, I know I said that rehash plots aren't bad, but it's a bit annoying that the fact they had to go rehash plots, and I already know from the trailers that they were going to rehash plots. And I think that this movie was one of those movies where a rehash plot was actually done really well. Because here's the thing. They added some new features to Riley, like her thoughts, like the moment where her thoughts with the core memories and then they just form thoughts. I really like that, and Sadness' expression to this is my expression. It's just so beautiful. I like the new features of each of these of the movie that was represented in the movie. It just gives the movie more things to explain here, and more of what Riley's features work. I really like the new features here. Also, this movie has a lot of funny moments. In fact, I love the scene where they literally mock preschool shows, especially with that 2D animated character and the Pouchy that reminds me of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Dora the Explorer. That was really funny, and Anger's like, who are you talking to? That was really funny, and I'm surprised that's not even a meme. That should be a meme. And here's the thing, the 2D animation at sometimes blends in very well. It emulates itself really well, and it doesn't come across as distracting or off-putting. It blends in really nice. Also, like I said, this movie has a lot of funny moments. such as discuss, like, literally fall in love with this video game character Riley used to play with, or Joy Snappin'. I swear to God, Joy Snappin' was like everywhere on YouTube. But let's address the film's more big scene, and that's when Anxiety completely goes overboard. And you know the scene I'm talking about. That scene was really important. It was played out very well, and it just emulates, and it just represents very well how we all went through anxiety like that. This movie portrayed that very well, and it took itself really serious here. It took itself really serious here with that moment. And you gotta give the props, because apparently it took a lot of workers and a lot of discussion for that one scene. Shows how dedicated the crew is to delivering this message, which is well portrayed here. Well represented and well portrayed here. And it goes, and mostly because it just shows the usual things that happen, except it's well played out here. I will say that the movie kind of lacked a bit of the emotional core of the previous film, and for a more energetic and goofy-like story. And most of the emotional moments are kind of feel like it was kind of reminded me of some previous scenes from the original movie. But they are there, and they do exist. And again, that one moment where with Anxiety and Joy with Anxiety was the big moment of the movie. It was probably the biggest moment of the movie. And you gotta give the props to Disney for pulling off very well. So that's all I had to say about Inside Out 2. The characters are still enjoyable. The new characters are great additions, and the plot is well represented, and it tackled the whole meeting new friends and trying to fit in very well, especially with one scene that definitely well demonstrate what all of us went through. Yeah, sure, the plot is a bit rehashed from the first film, and it kind of lacked a bit of the emotional core from the first film. But I think that the positives kind of make up everything else. Also, I want to note something here, but Fear and Disgust have new voice actors, and they're okay. I like them, not as much as the original voice actors, but I thought they were nice. So overall, I was pretty surprised about Inside Out 2 and how great this movie is. I still prefer the original movie because I still think the original movie still holds up, but this is a must watch. This is definitely a worthy sequel, and it's just a prime example of how you can make a good sequel out of a critically acclaimed animated movie. And it's finally refreshing to see Disney back after, oh my god, 2023 was just a disaster for Disney, and the fact that it was their 100th anniversary was just depressing nonetheless. And Inside Out 2 definitely brought Disney back on track. So I really enjoyed this movie, and yeah. So my overall score, I'm going to give this movie an 80 out of 100. An 80 out of 100. And again, this movie, yeah, had a few flaws, but it was just an enjoyable movie. And it definitely surprised me of how good this movie was. So Disney and Pixar is definitely back in the game with this one. So that's all I have to say. I'm giving this movie an 80 out of 100, and I definitely recommend you go check it out if you like the first film. Well, guys, that's it for my review on Inside Out 2. Again, I wanted to add more to this review than the other review, and I think I got everything I needed to clear out. So that's all I have to say about my review on this movie. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and yeah, that's all I have to say. I know I don't usually make re-reviews of movies, but in this case, I think it's a bit more necessary, so I can add a bit more of what I thought about the movie. Anyways, guys, so yeah, take care, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.